in which case they will have to do some moving around with Brian Brohm and Matt Flynn. And in question in that second spot, who is in that second spot right now? Listed is still Brian Brohm. Matt Flynn, though, playing, I think, probably as well as Brian right now, but you've always got to weigh into that. What set of defenders are these guys playing against? Brian Brohm probably playing against more seconds than Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn coming in against the thirds. So this Thursday will probably be a big determiner in where that sits. Although I really think, I honestly don't think there's anything Matt Flynn could do. I think Brian Brohm, because of his where he was picked and the fact that the Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy seem to be married to Brian Brohm. So I think he's going to end up in that second spot. I don't really look to see the Packers pick anyone up. They don't seem, it doesn't seem like they have a propensity to do so, to grab these guys kind of last minute because they're veterans. They're a very young team-oriented coaching staff and GM. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't just carry those two young guys right through. I think we could pay very, very, very dearly for that, and that's no news to the coaching staff or Ted Thompson, but very risky. We had a good backup last season and Brett Favre, and then I think we tacked on Null or someone later on as insurance. I'm not sure how that will pan out, but again, I'll just say it. Brian Brohm and Matt Flynn in the second and third position. Watch for that. I would expect it. Of course, we know Aaron Campman, and then Michael Montgomery and Jeremy Thompson playing for a role in there. I'm just going to jump down of course, one of the positions we have a lot of depth at is the linebacker position. Right now, Brady Pinga in at Sam, strong side linebacker with Brandon Chiller behind him and Spencer Havner back there as well, a rookie. Nick Barnett in the middle with Desmond Bishop behind him and Abdul Hodge in the third spot there. Now, that is a place where Desmond Bishop and Abdul Hodge may really have a chance to move up or drop down depending on their performance Thursday night. Abdul Hodge, after his surgery with his knees feeling better, has just been astounding, has just been around the ball, fighting off linemen to make tackles on running backs, has looked good, and so it will be interesting to see. And but then again, Desmond Bishop, he's the guy, remember, last season against the Seahawks that just had a wipe-out tackle against the Seahawks in the preseason. Of course, he didn't get much playing time during the season, but the guy can hit, and that, I think, is why the Packers have him in, especially at that Mike linebacker spot. Of course, the weak side linebackers, A.J. Hawk right now. He's hurt. Brandon Chiller then jumping into that spot, and he may get some playing time. It is not certain whether A.J. will be available for the opener of the season. So Tracy White following behind him. A good group. I don't know how many they're going to keep at that spot. I know Ted Thompson likes to fill out, and we have need of depth at the defensive line. So I'm afraid there's going to be a good player that's going to get cut this time around. But we'll keep an eye on that, and of course we'll know those tough decisions coming down this Saturday. So also, Nick Collins right now at free safety is still the starter. Aaron Rouse, I think, has put on a show. I believe the coaching staff has mentioned Aaron Rouse's only problem is I guess, twofold. Once in a while, he doesn't make quite the right decisions. Nick Collins is a more of a veteran, of course. And Aaron Rouse also, I believe, has tended to go for the big play, which, frankly, I think is exactly what we need. But, of course, I think the coaching staff on the Packers likes to play it a little more conservative. But my read is that with a little bit more better game time decision making and making the right call on when to make that cut and when to go because of his nose for the ball, I am looking for Aaron Rouse to be a starter this year. I don't think it's going to be right off the bat, and I struggle. I think the coaches are high on Nick Collins basically because they know exactly what they've got. Week in and week out, they know what he's going to do. I'm just not sure it's enough right now. So, for a coaching staff that likes to get the young guys in there and give them a chance, I think if anyone on this team deserves it right now, it's Aaron Rouse. The guy had like 3 snaps in practice and picked the ball off twice. The guy has a nose for the ball, and we need him in that backfield. We need more turnovers. We have had very few this preseason. It doesn't look, we're not getting any pressure on. We've got to have guys in the backfield with a nose for the ball. So we will keep you up to date on that as well. Finally, I do want to mention Will Blackman right now is the starting kick returner with Jordy Nelson behind him. And so we've got some good depth there, and even Tramon Williams as the third. This is a guy who can make plays. So I think we're deep there. I think we can look for some improvement if the blocking is good. And I think, honestly, I think Jordy Nelson has a better grasp of how to set up blocks and make the right cuts to get behind the blockers he needs to get behind and make his move into the open field. So there are some pros and cons to both. Obviously, Will Blackman, he was a specialist in kick returns, so got no problem with that guy back there as long as he stays healthy. But I would like to see Jordy Nelson get some opportunities, and I think he will. We saw some change back and forth at that position last season, just trying to get some chemistry going. And we'll see. Of course, it's good to have 2 guys, one sort of breathing down the other's neck. That will put the pressure on Will Blackman to really perform. So that's pretty much it for two-a-day this afternoon, and we will see you back here at 10 o'clock and start getting into this preseason game. We'll probably cut through about half of the Packers-Titans rivalry, talk about that, and then tomorrow before the game have a pre-game show and talk a little bit more in depth about what we're looking at from the Tennessee Titans. So until then, have a good evening, and we will see you back here. And as always, go Pack.